Hi, I'm Dennis Reimer, and this is my story, and I'm sticking to it. I grew up, I was sprinkled as a child as far as my baptism, and I was confirmed in a faith. At the time, I was only 14 years old, and I really didn't know what I was doing. And as I got older, I turned 18, and the church that I was confirmed in wanted to know how much money I wanted to do, and I told them, I didn't know. I just got out of high school. So it came down to where I kind of embarrassed my parents by saying, well, I didn't want to be part of the country club, and needless to say, they no longer wanted me in their church because they wanted me to pay to pray. So I kind of gave up on that one. And then I fell in love for the first time, and that was kind of cool because I asked God to give me someone because I wasn't having much luck in my whole life. And He gave me a girl, and I broke up with her, or she broke up with me, actually. And I kind of went berserk, and I cast out God and everybody else, and I just went haywire till I met my wife. She kind of calmed me down. When she finally started going back to her church, I kind of fell in with that for a while, and I thought I had found God, and I was doing real well, got baptized and everything, and then things changed. It became another situation where there's another church that all they wanted was my money, and then I said something to the effect that it was like another church that was doing it, something on television, and the pastor came over and basically said if I didn't sit in his church, I wasn't going to go to God's kingdom. And well, I didn't think that was right either, so I asked him if Father Flanagan and Mother Teresa were going to be in God's kingdom after all the good they did, and they're Catholics. They weren't sitting in his church, which irritated him, so he ended up giving me a 2-day notice afterwards saying he didn't want me no longer in his church. Well, I got kind of fed up with churches about this time, and I just fell away from God altogether. I had felt that religion was just, a joke. My wife and I didn't go to church for the longest time, and then a granddaughter came, Haley, and she had leukemia. And she almost died twice. And so I went into the chapel at Children's Mercy, and I made a deal with God. I said, God, I know I have been away from you a long time, and I'm sort of like the prodigal son, but I'm asking you to make me a deal, take my life instead of hers. And for some reason, he answered my prayer, and she's now 20 years old, and she's doing real good. I've never loved a child so much, and when she was diagnosed, that took the wind out of my sails, and I promised that I was going to take and try to be more God's servant. I was doing real good for about 5 years, and then I had my first heart attack, and I think God was trying to wake me up and say, hey, I fulfilled my deal, now it's your turn to fulfill yours. Well, after that, I prayed, and, He got me through that one, and about 2 more I'm a slow learner. I had 2 more heart attacks, and I had heart failure. I've had, every time I feel like I'm crossing the line and going on the other side where Satan knows just what buttons to push, something happens. I've had 2 detached retinas, where one I could have taken and gone blind had he not saved it for 13 hours, I would have been blind. I think the last major thing was about 4 years ago. I broke my hip. After that, and the pain I had been in, I said to myself, it's time to start working and living towards godly life. So COVID hit, and then there was no church. So I went to, they had the church in my son's garage. So my granddaughter, Haley, she asked my wife to come, and naturally I was going to go too. I started listening and starting to relive all the things what I had learned before, and I was relearning a lot of the things. Real life started to make sense to me. I got to meet a few people. It wasn't a big gathering, and once church started coming back, I decided to come over and go to the real life church service. It was the best thing I'd ever done. I've People greeted me, and they were real people. They didn't cast judgment on me because I was poor or if I was rich or whatever. They just cared about what I did. And it's not pay to pray. Yes, you give freely, but that's everything you do is up to you. You know, my doctors tell me I should have been dead 5 years ago, but because the grace of God, I'm still here and I'm going to do something about it. So now what I'm trying to do is let other people know that God is real and God can perform miracles and do things. And I guess my mission now is to help other people. God used my son, daughter-in-law, and the grandkids to get me back on the right track. Haley was the main source and actually Lexi, because they did it inadvertently, brought me back, because I looked at them as they were hope for the future. Our lives are so easily, can snap at any time and we could be gone. Just them helping me see that it's not too late. And that's how, I was brought back into church. So now I'm asking all of you to step out on faith and step out on your own power, and you guys bring some people in, because it's going to be a blessing to you as well as the people you bring in.